Maria Elisabeth Riva, born on December 13, 1924, and died on October 29, 2025, was more than a celebrated actress and memoirist. She was a bridge between Hollywood's golden past and the resilience of a woman who forged her own name in a world that often defined her by her lineage. The daughter of the legendary Marlene Dietrich, Maria carved her identity through determination, talent, and courage. For decades, she touched audiences through the early magic of television and later through her words, sharing both the brilliance and burdens of her extraordinary life. At the time of her passing, she had an estimated net worth of $5 million, but her true wealth was in her artistry, spirit, and story. A childhood among stars and shadows. Maria Elisabeth Sieber was born in Berlin, Germany, the only child of the glamorous actress Marlene Dietrich and assistant film director Rudolf Sieber, who later became Paramount Pictures' director of dubbing in Paris. From the very beginning, her life was set against the glittering backdrop of cinema. In 1930, at just 5 years old, Maria moved to Los Angeles with her mother. Their lives intertwined with Hollywood's most fascinating figures, and she spent her childhood amid film sets, elegant soirees, and the endless hum of creativity. Often, her playground was the Paramount Studios' lot, a wonderland filled with lights, laughter, and the scent of dreams in the making. Her first small taste of acting came at the age of 9, when she portrayed the young Catherine the Great in Joseph von Sternberg's The Scarlet Empress, 1934. Since no child actress resembled her famous mother, Maria was chosen to play the role. Though she was older than the character she portrayed, the film's tender scenes of her in bed captured her innocence and connection to her mother's cinematic world. She also appeared as an extra in the 1936 classic The Garden of Allah, marking her earliest brush with the art that would later define her. Yet, behind the glamour, Maria's childhood was cloistered. Her mother, protective and possessive, refused to send her to regular school, keeping her close with governesses who managed her lessons. Only later, in the late 1930s, was Maria permitted to attend Brilliantman International School in Switzerland, a liberating chapter in her youth. There, she shared a room with future actress Jean Tierney, forming one of her first bonds outside her mother's shadow. During her formative years, Maria also grew close to the Kennedy family, joining them and her mother on vacations. Among them, she found a kindred spirit in Rosemary Kennedy. Perhaps being two misfits, we felt comfortable in each other's company, she later wrote with empathy. But Maria's childhood was also marred by pain. In her powerful memoir, she revealed a haunting experience, a rape by a nanny at the age of 13. Reflecting on it, she wrote with heartbreaking clarity, "In some ways, I was trained for rape. Always obedient, always trying to please those in charge of me." This courage to tell her truth later became part of her legacy, as she refused to let silence define her life. Finding her voice in art and performance, Maria's resilience soon found an outlet in performance. At 15, she began formal acting training at the prestigious Max Reinhardt Academy, nurturing the craft that would sustain her through life's storms. During World War II, Maria's compassion and sense of duty led her to entertain Allied troops across Europe for the USO between 1945 and 1946. She was stationed in Frankfurt, Germany, returning to her birth country, now war-torn, not as a child of glamour, but as a performer offering hope. In the early 1940s, she briefly adopted the stage name Maria Manton, performing in theater and summer stock productions. Her stage presence radiated authenticity and grace. She starred in Tea and Sympathy and made her Broadway debut in 1954 at the Longacre Theater in the Burning Glass alongside Cedric Hardwicke and Walter Matthau. Though her first marriage to actor Dean Goodman in 1943 was short-lived, love found her again in scenic designer William Riva, whom she married in 1947. Their partnership blossomed into a long and enduring marriage that lasted over 5 decades, filled with shared creativity and mutual respect. Together, they had 4 sons, including J. Michael Riva, who would later become a celebrated Hollywood production designer. When her first son was born in 1948, the press affectionately crowned Marlene Dietrich the world's most glamorous grandmother, a title that amused Maria more than anyone. A star of the television age. In the dawn of the television era, Maria Riva became one of CBS's first contract players in 1951, earning $250 a week, a handsome sum for a young woman making her mark. The studio recognized her natural poise, beauty, and depth, qualities that soon made her one of the most respected performers of the small screen. Over the 1950s, she appeared in more than 500 live teleplays, gracing classic shows like The Milton Berle Show, Lux Video Theater, Hallmark Hall of Fame, Your Show of Shows, and Studio One. Each performance was broadcast live, demanding precision, skill, and emotional control, a test Maria always met with remarkable composure. Her talent did not go unnoticed. She earned 2 Emmy Award nominations for Best Actress in 1952 and 1953, solidifying her place among the pioneers of early television. That same year, Motion Picture Daily listed her among television's best of 1952, alongside legends like Lucille Ball, Sid Caesar, and Dinah Shore. Beyond acting, she appeared in commercials for Alcoa and Rheingold beer, showing her versatility as a performer. In an age when women were often confined to limited roles, Maria's work ethic and poise stood as a quiet rebellion, proof that she could hold her own in an industry built by and for men. By 1962, Maria stepped away from acting to focus on her family. She and William moved to Bern, Switzerland, where they raised their children in a home filled with art, laughter, and books. She continued to spend time in New York, in a house her mother had bought her years earlier. During this time, she dedicated herself to organizing Marlene Dietrich's one-woman shows, ensuring her mother's performances reached their full artistic potential. Even in later years, Maria occasionally returned to the screen. She made a brief but memorable appearance as Mrs. Rhinelander in Scrooged, alongside Bill Murray, and participated in the 2001 documentary Marlene Dietrich, Her Own Song. In 2018, at an age when most would have retired quietly, she acted in the short film All Aboard, directed by her grandson, J. Michael Riva Jr., a beautiful full-circle moment for the matriarch of a creative dynasty. The power of the pen. Maria Riva's voice extended beyond the stage and screen. It flowed through her writing. In 1992, the same year her mother passed away, she published the deeply personal biography Marlene Dietrich, which became a New York Times bestseller. The book was both loving and unflinching, peeling back the layers of her mother's complex persona with tenderness and honesty. She later contributed captions for Marlene Dietrich, Photographs and Memories, 2001, offering rare glimpses into her mother's private world through the treasures preserved in the Marlene Dietrich collection at the Film Museum Berlin. In 2005, Maria edited Nachtgedanken, a collection of her mother's poetry published in Germany and Italy, revealing a softer side of the woman who had captivated millions. Then, in 2017, she released her debut novel, You Were There Before My Eyes, a moving story about an Italian immigrant woman in Detroit, echoing themes of displacement, reinvention, and the pursuit of belonging that mirror Maria's own life journey. That same year, she also published the 25th anniversary edition of her mother's biography, now titled Marlene Dietrich, The Life, ensuring that new generations could rediscover the icon through the eyes of the daughter who knew her best. Love, friendship, and legacy. Maria's personal life was as rich as her career. After her early marriage to Dean Goodman ended, her union with William Riva became her lifelong anchor. Together, they share more than 50 years of partnership, creative exploration, and deep affection until his passing in 1999. Throughout her life, Maria maintained friendships with many of her mother's contemporaries, Brian Ahern, Jean Gabin, Edward R. Murrow, and Yul Brynner. She joined Brynner in numerous telethons for United's cerebral palsy in the 1950s, showing that her heart for humanity matched her artistic passion. After Marlene Dietrich's death, Maria made a profound decision. She sold her mother's estate, more than 100,000 personal belongings including diaries, costumes, and memorabilia, to the city of Berlin for $5 million. Her intent was pure, to keep the collection together and accessible to the public. We chose Berlin, her son Peter explained, because they are committed to preserving each piece. Today, that archive stands as one of the world's most comprehensive museum collections dedicated to a single artist. A century of grace. In her final years, Maria lived primarily in Palm Springs, California, surrounded by sunlight and serenity. Later, she moved to Gila, New Mexico, to live with her son Peter. On December 13, 2024, she celebrated her 100th birthday, a milestone few reach, yet one that fell fitting for a woman whose spirit seemed timeless. Maria Riva passed away peacefully in her sleep on October 29, 2025, in Gila. The world lost not only the daughter of a legend, but a legend in her own right, a woman who lived with grace, told her truth fearlessly, and carried forward the light of an entire generation of artists. Her century-long life was a tapestry of triumph, heartache, and passion. Through her performances, her words, and her courage, Maria Riva reminded the world that being born into greatness is one thing, but becoming your own person and doing it with love and dignity is the truest form of legacy.